times of expectation. So prayer is our sometimes real selves, trying to communicate with the real, with truth, with the light. Anne Lamott. I was a few months pregnant with Isaiah when Travis, Elliott, and I flew to D.C. for a weekend conference on prayer and justice with International Justice Mission, an organization that fights global issues of modern-day slavery. I gathered myself together, told myself I could do it, that I wouldn't get sick on the plane, that my pregnancy-inspired hormones wouldn't claim another weekend of my life. I'd gotten a pedicure, a haircut, and a spray tan. I'd bought a new outfit and prepared my heart for a sacred weekend. Instead of pregnancy nausea claiming my time, I spent the entire 3 days in bed with the flu. I stepped into one session of the prayer conference, just long enough to sing as loud as I could with the worshipers around me. I needed it. I ached for it. I spent the entire weekend emotionally wrecked because I'd missed out on a trip I was looking forward to desperately. Flying home on the plane, I tried to process what had gone wrong that weekend, how I could have missed out on the highlight of my year. I nursed Elliot to sleep and stared at my journal, but it was too raw, the grief settling in, the questions trying to ask themselves to the God I trusted but didn't always understand. I look at those pages and still can't find words for it, still can't find the courage to ask God exactly why it all happened that way, why a flu bug took over such an important weekend in my life. A few months later, we spent a few weeks with my husband's parents. I had dreamt of spending time with Brenda, my mother-in-law, shopping at Goodwill and antique shops, laughing and cooking and celebrating the ever-forming boy in my belly. But when we arrived, Brenda had to leave suddenly to visit her ill sister, and I was alone with Travis, his dad, toddler Elliot, and little Isaiah growing inside my tummy. In the mornings, I was alone with Elliot while Travis and Michael taught a class at the college. While Elliot played, I looked around their library of a house, the walls lined with books, and remembered this hunger that had begun rooting itself in me to hear more from God, to lean closer and know more of that good comfort. I chose Anne Voskamp's 1,000 Gifts, and I devoured it because it was about being thankful when things are not as they should be, about finding glory in unexpected places, like a weekend lost to the flu. I sat in that living room, curled up on the pale green chair I can fold myself up inside of, pregnant belly and all. I took a notebook and filled it with notes, trying to process, trying to take the pieces and fit them back together again in a way that made sense. I couldn't see anything ahead of me, and my present situation felt collapsed and unfruitful. I was begging for presence and purpose, for understanding. Because my heart is like a child's, the broken expectation weighed on me like a ton of bricks and felt unbearable. I was swept back into long years of unmet expectations, promised visits with my father who didn't show up, promises broken once and broken again. After all that breaking, when a new joyfully expected thing goes awry, it weighs heavy on a heart. I found Anne's book again a few years later in our little apartment and saw all the notes I'd scribbled in it. I was so hungry then, so ready and waiting for truth. I'm still hungry today, hungry again for God's voice in my childlike waiting and expectation. And all I can do is acknowledge that a mysterious and good presence held me in that earlier season, and that is, it filled me, despite the broken expectations and the tiredness in my heart. When we are tired and hungry, the mystery of God is still present after all. That tiny but constant voice still echoes in hotel rooms and big library houses. That voice still echoes in all of us, when tears fill our eyes, when we're begging for breath all over again, It still beckons glorious kindness to enter in and make a home within those hollow spaces. The prayer. I have discovered you, and I am discovering you. In the watchful hours of night, I watch my little one, and you watch me. In the bright light hours of day, we play, all of us, and work and toil back into the waxing moon's shadow. And there we quiet down again. And there we are discovered. And there we discover. I am discovering you, being all-knowing, who seems to give it all to me. You are giver and bringer and all in one. Treasure and surprises seek me out when I am most unseekable. You seek me, find me, pour me out, and fill me again. May we discover, and in discovering find the healing of ages. May we discover kingdom come, kingdom coming. Kingdom forever and always, and into every horizon we've yet to unearth. May we discover the journey of discovering all of you, all the beauties of you, and depths in you and widths bounding through you. Beckon us to you, sacredness in the path, beneath our tired, anxious feet, and rest us at the edges of ourselves, the unexpected places where horizon meets holy horizon, and we are bound by no shame, covered by no fear. Amen.